And welcome to Liquid Lunch. We're coming at you live. It is Friday, April 24th, and Hildegard is here with me because it's Friday. Right,
Hildegard? It's Friday. When you see my face, you know it's Friday and the weekend is coming.
That's right.
And to send us off in the weekend, we have some very interesting discussions. Anyway, but now with us, and our viewers might notice these green concoctions in front of us. After all, it's a liquid lunch today. We have Verawonica with us. And Verawonica, welcome to the show. Please tell us, how do you go from selling houses and doing real estate for most of your life as a business to raw food?
Well, it's a long story. How much time do we have?
What, 20 minutes, half an hour? Go for it.
Well, honestly, it all started with my dog being sick, really, really sick. And so by her being in the hospital, it gave me an awful lot of time to research. And I couldn't figure out why she was so ill, and the vet just couldn't figure it out. So anyway, I found this holistic vet, and I made an appointment right away, took her out of the hospital, took her down to the holistic vet, and he basically said, why don't you feed your dog appropriate food? And I said, okay, what's that? He said, raw food. And I said, why raw food? So he just started to tell me some benefits, and of course it sort of flows over to what I'm doing. And it's the fact that all the nutrients and enzymes are still intact. And so the body's cells get those nutrients and those enzymes right away after digesting. And also, it's a dog's system is a little bit different than our system. The digestive system's shorter, the digestive juices are different. So, but more importantly, the raw food is what interested me, because I thought, the vet continued to tell me about dry food, like dried dog food is processed, it has fillers. And when it's dried to a certain temperature, we lose all those nutrients. So, make a long story short, I brought my dog home, put her on raw food, and in 3 days I had a completely different dog. And that was 7 years ago, and she's not been sick a day in her life. On top of that, the vet suggested I add some things, more importantly, chlorophyll. So with my research, I thought, chlorophyll, what's that? Well, it's liquid sunshine. It's green, it's really bright green, sort of like our juices here today. But that got me on to thinking about, what are we eating? I'm eating dead bread, dead food, dried food, processed food, all these other things. And so my journey started in the raw food, and I thought, well, what should we be eating so that our bodies get nutrients and all these other things? So I experimented while I was selling houses, and the reason for that is because we're always in a rush. We're always going from one appointment to the other appointment. Our hours, our days can be extended. We don't know what's going on. You know, you could show a house and then your client wants to put an offer in, so that extends your day. You don't really have any food with you. So a lot of agents did the drive-bys, you know, grabbing food and stuff. So I got into doing these energy drinks. And I have to tell you, my energy just started going crazy. It was wonderful. And that's really how the raw food
what do you mean by energy drinks? Are we talking the Red Bulls now, or the juices that you created yourself?
Red Bull's a bad word, but no. Well, here's the really interesting thing. Sunlight goes to green plants,
yes.
And so what happens is you have all this chlorophyll, everything going on, and it's energy. So when you take the green, anything green, you put it in, let's say, the Vitamix, it breaks open all the amino acids, and that turns into protein in your body, and also nourishes your cells. So the green, all the green stuff, I mean, it's the rage now with kale, and I'm sure when you were younger, you grew kale in the backyard, and it was just...
I was called the Wicked Witch from the West, giving my kids kale 25 years back, even here in Northern Ontario.
Yeah. You know. Well, I'm of Austrian background, so we always had a garden in the backyard, and kale was one of the things, so I was always used to having kale as well. But getting back to the drinks, the more green I put in there, and I used a little bit of fruit to sweeten it. For example, what we have here today for our liquid lunch is we have kale, we have pea shoots, which are nice and sweet.
Pea shoots?
Pea shoots. You know, snap peas?
Yes.
The little green leaves, and they have the little curly things.
Yeah.
So that's what's in there, because it's nice and sweet. You know, snap peas are sweet. And I put in celery. Celery is awesome. A little bit of cucumber. And then I added some sweetness. So there's a banana in here. There's a half of a green apple, and then there's blueberries. which makes it a little muddy looking.
Now I could see
Wait.
if I still had my garden, where do you get the green shoots? It is what, April, it's cold, we're wearing coats.
Yes.
Where do they shoot?
You know what, you can sprout, which is, I guess, a whole different topic. But I sprout a lot of my things, and you can sprout wheatgrass, you can sprout any kind of shoots, mung beans, all kinds of sprouting, which grows within 3 days. You have sprouts.
Can we start to sample this? Green
Yes,
grape?
you know what? Here, can I give you my straw just so
Oh,
you
yeah.
can stir
Sure.
it? I don't want all the stuff to sort of. I want it to mix around, so I hope you like it. And if you don't, say you do.
Did you make it in a juicer, or how do you make this stuff?
Thank you. Cheers.
This is my liquid lunch for today. What I do is I put mine in the Vitamix. The Mighty Vitamix can almost, blend a car. It's pretty amazing blender.
Really?
So I added some extra things to this drink as well. I put in enough essential fatty acid oil, because you need that. And I put in a little bit of plant protein powder.
I was just going to say there is
it's
something
It's
gritty in there. What is it? Hemp powder? Or?
It's a combination of protein powder. I also put in bee pollen. I'm not a vegan, I'm a vegetarian. So bee pollen is your complete bees. Pardon the pun.
Yeah, the B vitamins.
Yeah, all your bees. You get your B12 because when you're a vegetarian or a vegan, you really need to get your B12 from another source. When you're vegan, you're not going to get it from a bee, right? Because vegans do not eat anything from any animals whatsoever. So you have to take a bee complex or something like that. But I use the bee pollen.
Now, what does the...
So that's probably maybe what you're tasting.
There is also a little bit of a minty something in there. Do you have like a mint, peppermint?
I don't have anything minty in there. I don't know what that could be. Maybe it's a little bit of a combination.
The apple?
The apple's a little bit more tart. But in my world, the bitter, the better. If you taste anything that's bitter, it means your body needs it. For example, when I started eating wheatgrass, the first time I had it, I really did not feel well. And I just kept doing it, and now it's sweet to me because I've had it so much.
But it's interesting you should say that, because the animals, going back to your dog or your cat,
Yes.
the cats will go, especially in the spring, after not having had that crisp grass, they go and eat grass.
Yes, they love the spring because everything's coming up and they want to eat the little green
and
things.
it's, I remember my grandmother, she would go and get stinging nettles when they're just
Excellent.
shooting.
Yeah.
And in spring, right about this time, we'd have springing nettles for lunch. It would be stirred, blanched, like just a little bit in hot water. She didn't boil it too
Yeah.
much. She just threw it in boiling water, and then it made some sort of a nice legume to have for lunch. And so there is a reason why nature puts these things on the planet, and we need to remember how to use them.
Well, it's interesting when you look at animals, which I sort of, I didn't really study them, so to speak, but I certainly looked at the largest animals on the planet were vegetarian. A panda bear will chew and chew, the green leaves from the bamboo poles. And, you've got the cows and the giraffes, and they don't eat meat. Why are they so big? Why is a gorilla so strong? And it's because with their chewing, they break open the cellulose from the plant. And as I mentioned before, with the amino acids and the protein. So you can actually live off of green and get your protein and all that other stuff.
Well, do you believe we are meant to be vegetarians, considering we have this long intestinal tract, and yet then there is people who live up north, who only eat seal meat and have nothing to do with vegetables other than in the short summer months when they can find some berries?
I personally don't want to comment on that because I think everybody's choice is their own. For myself, I feel better not eating meat. I just know that meat takes a long time to go through your digestive tract, which therefore causes toxins, which
putrefies. We talked about
which
that
can
last
cause
week
all
with
kinds,
Mary, right?
which can cause all kinds of diseases and problems and things like that. And again, being Austrian, I was raised with meat. Mind you, that meat was organic back then.
Yes.
And I ate meat. I've been organic for my entire life, and I believe in eating organic food over conventional food, non-organic food. Now, however, if I was to eat something local that was, not really heavily sprayed or sprayed with love, so to speak, I would probably choose that over an organic strawberry from California. A local strawberry that's not been sprayed. versus a strawberry that's organic from California. Like I would just choose that because I'm more of a local supporter, like local farm supporter in what I eat. And
well, and it's said that it has a different vibration, right? Different parts of the world have a unique
okay, good. I'm glad you're even into that.
Well, we are on television. It's all about vibration.
Yeah. Because that's another thing that I've always learned from my parents having a garden, you know, that the food comes from the land to the table, to the mouth. And I think our fast-paced world, we've lost that. We're just so quick to put things in our mouth. We don't put our mind to, number one, where does it come from? And number two, what's it going to do to your body? And so it's really interesting. That's another reason I stopped eating meat, was my spiritual connection with animals, more importantly factory farmed animals. So that stress that that animal is experiencing by being locked in a cage, which it should not be, and injected with all kinds of things and being artificially inseminated, and you know, the babies being ripped from them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then that meat gets put to us. That meat has got all that stress in it, and I just didn't want to be part of that. For myself, I didn't want to be contributing to that part of the animal, as well as what I've learned about eating raw food and what it does to your digestive system and what it ultimately does to your body.
Now, how would you help somebody? Some of our viewers may think, well, that's really all good, you know all of that, but I know nothing. I have kids to feed, I have only that much time to prepare meals for my family, I have a full-time job. I can't spend time shopping all over town for unique ingredients.
Right.
Where can the person begin? If somebody comes to you, how do you help them with changing their dietary preferences?
Yes, I have different options. I have, I'm a grocery guide. I can go to a grocery store and actually, and actually help people make better choices. And then also I help them with their kitchen, getting their kitchen more organized. But more importantly, I teach raw food classes. I'm actually having one tomorrow. It's Raw Food Basics Level 1. So I introduce people into what raw food really is, what it does to you, and more importantly, the time that you can save. You're no longer cooking and baking and washing pots and pans and all these other things. And once you start really tasting real food without condiments, without unnecessary salt and all these other things that you've really disguised your food with, you start craving that kind of your palate starts to change and you crave the better foods, the good quality foods. And so what happens is most of my food is liquid. And so you can't tell me that having a family, you can't put some really good vegetables in the blender, press zap. You can add anything from almond milk to coconut milk to water, to coconut water, and your kids are going to love that. Your family's going to like that, and it's really great when you're on the go.
It travels, right?
Yes, it travels. It's excellent. I brought it here for you guys today.
It's almost like having a nothing but milkshake diet, except it's healthy for you, right?
Well, I can make a great milkshake, but it's out of a nut milk, not a real milkshake.
Yeah,
hey,
go ahead.
Veronica, I want to ask you because
Sure.
What happened when you made the transition from a normal Canadian diet to the raw food diet? Like, what happened to your health? What did you notice?
Well, I've always been very healthy, knock on wood, which is really great, but there's a couple of things that I've noticed. Number one, my energy level really went up. I'm going to be 58 years old, so the pace that I am at with my real estate and doing all of the things that I do on the side as well, running my own house, running my business, taking care of myself, which is a full-time job. But I just noticed that I had a lot more energy. It was really fantastic. The second thing I noticed is it's sort of the aging process. It reverses a little bit, which is kind of cool. It's really a nice thing. Overall, everything is a little bit brighter. My skin, my eyes, my hair is a little bit thicker, my nails are stronger. So there's a lot of physical benefits that I have found, as well as I mentioned, regarding just the energy part of it, which is, I think, really important. So it's a whole different world you have to get into with, finding people that are more vegetarian or vegan based. You're laughing at
Well, you
me.
don't want to have guys that are like eating meat anyway. If you're vegan. You
Not
wanna have-
really. It kind of, it's to the point where I can't do that anymore. I just can't, because I've connected more on a spiritual basis, and I also connect it back to its source.
So you won't even break your rules to occasionally just to go with the flow kind of thing? Like,
You mean like
go to a
meat?
restaurant and eat?
I can go to any restaurant and eat anything raw. Now, I'm not 100% raw. I'm probably between 80 and 90%. Being 100% raw is extremely difficult in this environment. We do have cold. There are days I just really want a warmer soup or a chili, but you just don't bring the temperature up to hot. And the reason we really want hot food is because our adrenals are taxed. So you're actually doing your body a disservice by eating hot food anyway.
That is
So-
a very interesting point, because
Yeah.
when you look, so Northern Europe, they have a lot of meat, there's a lot of cooked stuff, they have a hot tea, the British
Yes.
drink their tea, Northern
Yes.
Germany drinks their tea. As you go further south and the climate becomes Mediterranean, people are a lot more into salads, into fruit
course.
juices,
Yeah.
into raw
Well, that's the
stuff.
weather thing, right?
And that's why I
It's a
said
weather
the
thing,
weather kind of
indeed.
the weather
Olives, nuts,
Yeah.
essential fatty acids,
Yeah.
right? Olive oil.
The weather really, it does a number for me. You know, as far as, you know, sometimes I just crave to have something a little bit warmer. And, you know, when I dehydrate my food, you still get it out of the dehydrator somewhat warm, which is nice.
So, what do you need to just give us a quick insight into your kitchen? What do I need to have? So you give me the shopping
Okay.
list. In the shopping list tells me I could buy this, and that.
Sure.
And then you come with me to my kitchen. What do you do? Just give us 2 minutes rundown maybe
Well-
on how do we transform our kitchen to suit now my raw food approach.
So the number one thing that I would suggest you do is you get rid of your microwave and your toaster oven and those kinds of appliances and replace them with a Vitamix or a very, very heavy-duty blender. The next thing that I have is what's called a personal blender. I happen to have a Cuisinart because the plastic containers that they come with are PPA free. So that's why I like those. And I can make a one-shot drink in my personal blender and take it with me, just put the top on, on the lid. So that's, I think, really important. Then it goes on to other things. For example, a food processor, if you want to grind nuts or make pies or cakes or that kind of thing. And then a spiralizer for noodles, zucchini noodles, which replaces the pasta. So those are about the only appliances that I really work with and I have. I mean, I have some other luxury items like a dehydrator, which you don't have to start out with. But if you can just make one raw meal a day for your family, you're miles ahead. I don't care if it's a smoothie, I don't care if it's a salad. Let's just get some raw food into our bodies, at least, like I said, once a day.
What will fiber do to us? Because last week when
I
we
think
talked
we know
about
what
corn
fiber
plants-
does to
Yeah,
us.
Is there a lot of fiber in this?
There is fiber. There's a lot of fiber in vegetables to begin with, and also with fruits. Like apples are very dense in fiber.
Yeah.
And you need the fiber so it pushes food along and does what it's supposed to do.
What apple do you put in?
I like green apples because they're tart, and I get the sweetness from the fruits that I put in there. Typically, I don't put as many fruits in there, but I didn't want to scare you guys off with the stuff that I drink.
That would have been okay. I
Was
would've
it
liked that.
okay?
Yeah,
Did
it
you
was
like
very
it?
good, yeah.
Yeah, the banana makes it like a milkshake. It makes it really thick.
Now, I just want to ask you because when you were first talking about your dog, right? And we know what dogs like. They like meat, right? Now, and I mean, did you feed your dog raw meat? And are there any raw food advocates that recommend humans to eat raw meat?
Great question, Hugh. I'm not sure about the humans and the meat. The raw food people that I know and that I've talked to, meat's not an option. Most raw people are either vegan or raw vegetarian. I have not met a raw meat person. Although, I don't know, if you had steak tartare, Well, my parents.
I like the chicken tartare.
My parents gave us that when we were kids. I can't even believe it. Put a raw egg in there and a raw onion and chopped it up and put it on a rye bread, and that's what we had, which is crazy, and I loved it.
Well, I know Bavaria in Germany, they have that on their Brotzeit.
Yeah, exactly. So, but as far as the dog, I mean, my dog, the only meat in my fridge is for the dog. And she gets organic raw meat, which is a combination of, cartilage and bones and organs and things like that, as well as botanicals, which are greens. And if I pulp carrot, I'll throw carrot in there, or peas, or whatever I have. I kind of mix in her food as well. But I have to tell you, she's a healthy dog. She's 10 years old and she looks like a puppy.
Wow.
So
how soon after you switched over into this new way of feeding yourself, did you see results, if you can remember? I mean, sometimes it's hard to say.
I have to say, I did the dance with raw for probably a year, and the dance is where you take the 2 steps forward and then you go back and have popcorn.
And
then you take the 3 steps forward and then you go back and you have pasta. And so I did this dance for quite a while, and it wasn't until I sort of weaned myself a little further than just a couple of days that I noticed I didn't crave it anymore. Like, I could not go to a movie without popcorn. Then I made the transition to, not have popcorn, and then I would have it at home. So now my body just does not desire that anymore, but it took a while. I cannot say that it was overnight as far as the transition for food. My personal physical benefits I noticed almost immediately, and especially people asking me my age. That was probably the greatest thing, people just not really believing that I was almost 60. So that was a really happy thing for me. And
well, Hippocrates said, let food be thy medicine. And he didn't say put chemicals and flavor enhancers and ketchup and all of that, right?
My best appliance in my house, in my kitchen, is my refrigerator. I have a Sub-Zero refrigerator. It's a tank, and when I open that up, I feel like I'm in aisle 1 in the grocery store. I have so much variety in there. And that's what I would say to anybody listening is have a lot of different variety, fruits, vegetables, seeds, nuts in your fridge, so that when you go to make a salad, it's not just going to be a tomato and some, lettuce. So you have options. You might have bean sprouts. You might have some strawberries you want to throw in there, or some blueberries, or Chinese cabbage. Just make it a little bit of a variety so that you're not going, oh, I have to make salad today. Rather than that, have your mind frame, what am I going to put in my salad today? So I think that's kind of something that I would advise people to do. I sell houses for a full-time job, and one of the things I love to do is look in the refrigerators. And the reason I do that is I'm always amazed by what people eat, or lack of food, or how many 30 bottles of salad dressing they have in their fridge. Just take oil and vinegar, guys, like apple cider vinegar and some olive oil, and you've got a great dressing.
I don't even use dressing.
Good for you. I'm very impressed.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed.
He brings good salad.
That's fantastic.
I just want to say, because you mentioned the one raw food, just have at least one raw food meal a day, and I do that. I have a salad, and I've been doing it for a long time, and I go, first of all, it's got all that raw nutrition in it, right, from those vegetables, and my body, if I don't do that, my body does not react well. My body craves to go back and have that salad. If I go a day or two without, it really needs it. And also it gives me, and this is maybe not a great reason, but it gives me an excuse to say, I can go and have a McDonald's Big Mac or something like that.
Don't even say that, come on.
Well, I know, but because I'm getting the good stuff, I can excuse myself for the occasional little
You're
bad
so funny.
stuff.
It's like, okay, so I'm on the treadmill for half an hour, so now I can just, go have whatever.
Yeah.
No.
But everybody grows in their own time.
You know what? Absolutely.
And I'm glad to hear you say that you didn't go cold turkey from this to raw, because sometimes we are so hard on ourselves that we can't be perfect all the time.
You know what? You're correct in saying that. And one of the things that really helped me was YouTube videos on how to make a green drink. I mean, seriously, when you're starting out, utilize the technology that we do have. Look at these YouTubes. I read a lot of raw uncooked books, looking for different alternatives, because I thought, like Hugh had mentioned, I can't live on juice. Like, what else is there? So,
You know, I just want to say another thing, because we've had some other people, raw food people on the show, and some of them have cured themselves from cancer by just changing their diet to a raw food diet, and they swear by it. And so, I mean, that's another, I know you're not saying that, but for people out there that are maybe dealing with that, you know, it is a sensible strategy to be eating properly and really
well, one of
your
the things
lifestyle.
that I have learned, I have not experienced this personally. I don't have cancer, and I've been lucky enough not to have any major diseases or anything like that. But from everything that I've read and all the people that I have talked to about this lifestyle, disease cannot live in a plant-based body. It's impossible. So it's the junk that's keeping the parasites alive. It's, you know, all it's the meat, it's the breads, it's the wheats, it's the sugar. That's all feeding disease and the free radicals. And like I said, that's a whole different topic, and I talk very little on that because it's overwhelming for people that really don't understand that our body is really full of parasites, good and bad.
Yeah.
And it's the bad ones that actually control your appetite and your mindset as to your cravings. And people aren't aware of that. So when you're really feeling like you want something gooey and bad, so to speak, it's really the mindset of your parasites taking over.
It's not you in control.
No, not really.
It's the biochemistry telling you.
So on sort of the tailcoats of what you were talking about, I don't see how disease can live in a 100% plant-based body. Animals that only eat plant-based don't die of diseases. They die of old age, or, you know, they're under attack or something like that. They're killed artificially or by man or whatever. But animals do not die of a disease unless man has done something to them or injected something along the way. So I'm a believer of that. And if I had cancer, I would do nothing but green juices until I cleared that up. So.
Now, Veronica, so you sell houses by day, but you are a raw food consultant. Like, what do you do? Do you go and help people change their diets?
Yes, I do. I teach classes. I teach raw food classes. As I mentioned, I'm having one tomorrow. It's a 5-day. It's a 5-hour class where I introduce raw food and I show people what they can do, not just that it's celery sticks and carrot sticks. I think tomorrow on our menu, on my menu, is doing pad thai, you know, which is a food that a lot of people like. So how do you make pad thai raw? Well, you can actually eat bean sprouts raw and all these other things, and everybody typically likes a carrot, so if you put the raw carrot in there, I'm not going to give you the whole ingredients, but just to give you an idea that I teach that. And then teach about the difference between a smoothie and a juice, because that's a big difference as well. And then some alternatives, people that like coffee. There's coffee alternatives out there.
We had somebody brought in some maca coffee alternative.
Yeah, there's maca, there's dandy, which is made from dandelions, there's beetroot, there's many different things, and they don't wreak so much havoc on your body and your system. It smells like coffee, tastes like coffee, you know, there's alternatives out there. And the other thing that I do, along with the teaching classes, I spoke at the health show, which we just had last week. So it was more to the masses, and this is a really great venue to get the message out. And I'm not here to convert people, I'm just here to educate and explain to people that raw food really does wonders to your body and to your skin and to your hair and actually your attitude. It makes you more positive. You know, you don't have that negativity. And again, in my business, you're always on the go and you're always like rushing and here, and you know, things upset you, and you know, road rage, all these other things. I don't feel that anymore, which is really great. It's more of a calming thing.
Yeah.
So
where is your workshop? You could maybe give this to us so we can put it on the credits so people can hopefully come and visit with you tomorrow.
That'd be awesome. I have a flyer. I don't know if you guys have a copy of that or not, but
I think this one here, yeah.
Okay.
Is it? We could actually show it.
Oh, that's great.
And you can talk about it while we're looking at
okay,
that.
so tomorrow is a 5-hour workshop on raw food basics, level 1. And as I mentioned, I have teamed up with another lady who is a digestive care expert, and she does colonics and live blood.
You're the in part, she's the out part.
And we've come together and we've created the in and out experience. So I'm the good food in, and then Mary talks about the digestive system and, you know, stuff that people don't want to talk about, but really you really should.
Yeah.
You know, because it's really important, and that on that end speaks volumes of what you're putting in. So that's great. And I have a blog that I do post a lot of raw recipes. It's called Foodie Food Girl.
Oh yeah, we got the t-shirt, right? Foodie Food Girl t-shirt.
Yeah. There you go. That's me. And I'm on Facebook and Twitter and all those social medias, and I welcome anybody to join in. And
give us your phone number as well, please.
Okay, you can reach me at 416-258-1485. And again, Foodie Food Girl. That's my new.
But wait, did you say, was there a website or something? Or
it's a blog / website, so www.foodiefoodgirl.com.
That's just it?
Foodiefoodgirl.com.
And boy, really, my compliments to you. You look fantastic.
Thank you so
you
much.
must be doing something right. And for viewers out there at home listening, have a look at this lady, and there's something to be learned. So hopefully tomorrow is it Don Mills area? York Mills?
No, actually it's at Kennedy and Shepherd. It's at Mary Taylor's Vitality Studio, and she's welcomed me in. I don't know if I was supposed to plug her or not.
Sure. Why not?
But anyway, I've joined with her to do these workshops, and we're really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to getting the message out there. And again, for her, being the digestive care, it's been a really great partnership for her to get her clients to come to these classes and if nothing else, learn how to do a smoothie that takes literally 3 minutes of your time. And
so good food is easy, can be fast.
Yeah, and the other thing that's a huge benefit, Hugh, is you drop weight. You don't have to go to the gym. You should go to the gym, but you don't have to. So basically, before your eyes, your weight just falls off when you start eating really, really healthy food. And that's a big bonus for a lot of people. Yeah. You know, so.
Okay, Foodie Food Girl.
That's it.
Thanks so much for being here and for the liquid lunch
you
brought.
Welcome, and thank you so much for letting me be here.
Hopefully we get to see you soon again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Take care.
Great. Okay, we're going to take a little break, come back with our next guest right after this here on Liquid Lunch.